Hi, I'm filmmaker Vashi Nedomansky, and I want to welcome you to my virtual production case study behind the scenes video where I'm going to break down how I did an entire virtual production ad campaign for a sports team and learned a lot along the way. I'd like to share this entire adventure with you, the good, the bad, the ugly, what I learned, what I became better at, what was frustrating, what was amazing, what was creatively stimulating. I'm looking forward to sharing the entire adventure with you, from the initial concept, through the pre-production, through the actual shooting on the volume or in the volume. We don't even know which one is the right term anymore. All the way through post-production and completing my first virtual production for a sports team, an entire ad campaign that'll be released across social media, broadcast, all over the place. Virtual production is not just for the huge Hollywood blockbusters and the huge streaming shows. It's for anyone who's creative, who has an idea that wants to express themselves in a new way. It's just a new tool for your toolbox that allows you to better tell your story. And I'm a case of that. I had an idea, I walked it all the way through the pre-production process and accomplished something in one day that I didn't think was possible. And that's the exciting part of virtual production. If you plan and prep and make the right decisions, work with the right artists, hire the right people, you can do so much in one day that most people can't even envision it would take a week to do. And I'm here to share that journey with you and show you how I did it. I like to learn new skills. I like to become a more complete filmmaker. And in this circumstance, I got to combine the two greatest loves of my life in my hobbies and whatnot with hockey and filmmaking. I was a professional hockey player. I'm a professional filmmaker. And in this project, creating an entire virtual production for a sports team, I got to merge both of those hobbies, which are now careers, and be able to express myself in a new and fun and creative way. The concept came to me when I realized that a professional hockey team, the first professional sports team in the Coachella Valley, was coming in the fall of 2022. And as an ex-professional hockey player, I knew I wanted to try and contribute and use my skills to be able to tell a story, to help them tell their story. The Coachella Valley is a large community of 9 cities. The team represents all of them. It's a source of pride. It's something that the community can rally around, and they haven't had something like that in a professional sense of a professional sports franchise. I came up with the concept of the hockey players coming out of these different environments, coming out of the desert, coming out of the mountains where there's snow, and all meeting at the rink, the brand new Acrisure Arena here in Palm Desert. So I decided that a virtual production would really suit that purpose. I knew that I could create different environments, the sand dunes, the actual Joshua Tree forests, the mountains above Palm Springs on Mount San Jacinto. There are lots of physically beautiful attributes to the desert that aligned with my vision for the team and how I could visually represent something really cool that would serve the team, serve the community, and make it fun and make it really interesting. I wanted to give it a cinematic look. I wanted to give a taste of Hollywood to this sports team and to the community instead of a used car commercial. Come on down to the hockey game, get your tickets. I want to make it something special. And I knew that going onto a stage, using the powers of virtual production to help me envision my dreams, basically, of what I saw in my head and make it a reality before the season started. The next step was talking to the team, getting a jersey from the team that the hockey player that I was going to cast would wear. They didn't even have any players yet. The team was so fresh that they had a uniform, they had a name, they had a building that was being built, but they didn't have any players. I cast a real hockey player to portray the character of the hockey player in this campaign, only because he had done commercials before, he had been on camera, he was comfortable with the camera. The way a hockey player moves in his gear, in his skates, is different from lots of other athletes and just lots of other people. There's a certain swagger, there's a certain demeanor that's carried with a hockey player, and it reads. You can tell the difference. If I just cast someone and said, put on this hockey gear and walk around, it wouldn't look right. There are a lot of stages in Los Angeles that are being used right now for virtual production, but usually they're for the biggest shows, the biggest movies. They're always populated, and they're extremely expensive if you can even get in there. And because I knew I wanted to shoot everything in one day, and I had planned for that, and I had the expectation to get all my shots, I looked pretty much all across the country for virtual stages that would fit my budget, fit my time frame, would want to work with me, would understand the importance of my project, and hopefully cut me a deal or form a relationship, and then be excited to have us on their stages. I found that at View Studio in Las Vegas. They have now 4 or 5 stages all across the country. The Las Vegas stage is a 40,000 square foot facility that has every amenity for cast, crew, anyone that's there, production, post. It's all in there. It's unbelievable. And we got to shoot on their main stage, which is 130 feet wide and 20 feet tall, with the overhead illumination, the camera tracking built into the LED panels, so everything is accurate. The movement is there. It's extremely impressive. I made the right choice. I made the right choice to go to View, and very happy with the results. On my project, we had only one day on the stage. We had 5 Unreal environments that were created by a very gifted artist, and we cycled through each of the stages, spent a couple hours on each environment to get our shots, to move the camera, get our wides, get our close-ups, get the parallax, get everything moving. And at the end of the day, we walked away with almost 2.5 hours of not even raw footage, but footage captured in camera that completely expressed the intention, desire, and visual style, language, and intent that we were going for. That to me is one of the greatest feelings about working on a virtual stage, is that you see the results right away. You're not waiting to download, transcode, color grade, add a LUT, add effects. What you see is what you get. So it falls on the filmmaker and the team that you're working with to be prepared. Just being on the stage and having these vistas portrayed in front of us was honestly an overwhelming feeling. And you can see in the videos, you can see in the imagery, and you can see on the photos that it is a huge space. And when the environments are thrown up there on the wall, everyone gasped, because it really is that striking, and you feel like you're being dropped into the deep end of the pool, and it's a glorious feeling. Because we had such a wide stage and we had 5 amazing, beautiful environments pre-built to project on these stages, I wanted to show and capture as much width on the stage as possible. So I spoke to my DP, and luckily he had a set of Lomo anamorphic lenses, which are Russian lenses from the 80s, late 70s, that are 2x anamorphic, so they're extremely wide. And we shot on a red Komodo in 6K, which has an 8K anamorphic option when it's stretched out. So on the day, we got to shoot extremely wide anamorphic photography, which helped to show the edges, to show as much of the stage as possible. And that made a huge difference in the final, because you can crop to the middle, you can make a 16:9 image in the middle, or you can show the fully wide 2:6:6 aspect ratio, which gives not only a cinematic look, but it's very, very striking and really shows and highlights the environments that are projected on the walls and how the character interacts with them. You can make your character very small, because we can step back 150 feet and film that and still have enough wall space on the sides to be in camera, which you can't do if you were just shooting 16:9. If you went too far back, you'd see the top and the bottom, and the gag would be blown. You wouldn't feel like you're actually there, and you'd have to do work in post to cover up for that. The speed at which you can cycle through environments, times of day, weather conditions, cloud conditions, it's almost instantaneous. And the fact that we had Kelly, our Unreal technician, on set all day, manning the computer to be able to react instantly to any question, demand, request, scene change, she's on it. And we had her, and without that technician, that component of the process, it wouldn't be possible to get as much done as we did. So thank you again to View and Kelly and the whole team for hosting us and providing a beautiful platform on which to capture all our storytelling components that we needed. My eyes were open to a new way of telling stories, and a new way of seeing something in your brain pop out on a screen, and you're interacting with it. you're there. You're in the moment. It's very exciting and very rewarding. I know I've said that before, but you could feel it. You could feel the energy in the room from both the cast crew and the View employees that were working with us and helping us. Everyone was vibing on the day. We're getting results. The scenarios look great. The environments looked great. Everyone could feed off that. The results were getting got. And, we got out of there. It was a long 14-hour day by the time we wrapped and started breaking down. View gave us a couple extra hours at the end of the day, which was very nice of them. But we left with everything backed up on 3 or 4 hard drives, and everyone was just giggling, going back to the hotel to just get a pizza and go thumb through the footage and just play it back just to see what we captured on the day. And it was awesome. For creating these 3D Unreal environments, for projecting them on the day, on the stage, and doing further post-production downstream after we've captured everything, we really needed a combination of a powerful workstation and a extremely powerful GPU. We had that in spades. I've been a longtime proponent and user of Dell workstations and NVIDIA GPUs. I've used them for over 10 years now. I love the power, I love the reliability, and we couldn't have done it without those two components. It's the core of my post-production workflow in terms of you can throw anything at me, I can deal with it. Doesn't matter how many Ks your footage has, doesn't matter what frame rate, I can plow through it. I can get real time, I can work faster, and I can see the results. My extremely talented Unreal artist, Thiago, he's a proponent of NVIDIA and Dell as well. He crafted all of these environments on those systems. At View Studios, they run a huge Dell processor, server, stack, mountain, I don't know what it is. There's just a huge mountain of Dell hardware, all powered by NVIDIA A6000s, which is what I have in my studio here. I have 3 of those in 3 of my setups. And being able to process that much information and get it in real time and do the ray tracing and do the AI now and do the machine learning and be able to not only film stuff, but then be able to work with just information, data, to just chug through it faster than anything else is something that I appreciate. I value my time. I don't want to wait for renders. I don't want to play things back at half frame rate. I want the most powerful system. I want the most powerful cards. I'm a professional. These are tools that I need, and I do everything I can to make sure that I'm up to date and that I'm ahead of the curve and future-proofed for all the projects that I do. I'm very grateful for my collaborations with Dell and NVIDIA. We've worked and partnered on so many projects over the years, and they've never let me down. I like to have the latest technologies, access to it. I like to incorporate these new technologies in my pipeline, make it a standard, something that I can use today and rely on in the future. It gives me, I feel, a leg up on other post-production houses and on other projects that are limited by processing speed or GPU speed. What were some of the lessons learned? Lessons learned. What would we do different? What would we not do different? What would we do more of? You got to be prepared. If you don't have a comprehensive shot list before you step on a virtual stage with all the moving parts, the people that are ready to go, then you're screwed. You're literally screwed. I storyboarded about 50 different setups for the 5 environments. Different kinds of shots, moving cameras, cranes, dollies, sliders, all sorts of stuff. I believe we got probably 25 setups done in our window. We had View Studio for 12 hours, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We did not get our first shot off until 11:30. It was 3.5 hours of camera setup, additional light setup, motion tracking on the camera to be aligned properly, loading our environments, everything getting fired up. I mean, I wish we could have been there at 5 and eaten some of that time earlier, but we were loaded in at 7, on set at 8, didn't get our first shot till 11:30, and I was frazzled, to be honest. I'm like, we have 12 hours, now we have 9 hours and 8, and we haven't even gotten a shot yet, and I don't know how to do this yet. And by lunch, we had gotten through 2 of the environments already. getting all the shots we wanted in both static shots, moving shots, different times of days in the environments. We had Fuego the Firebird on set. So that was really exciting to be able to incorporate both the hockey player and the mascot on the stage in these different environments to be used later. To be completely honest, once you get a shot under your belt or a couple series of shots, when you see the results, because it's happening right in front of you and what you see with your eye is what the camera sees, you know you've gotten it. You know that there won't be much post-production to do to that shot to make it sing. We were trying to match the actual locations in the Coachella Valley and the Mojave. They're very specific. Everyone knows what a Joshua tree looks like. Everyone has that expectation. Use them to tell a story. Use them to enhance your story that you already have, and use them in new ways that weren't possible before. And we got to leave the green screen at home. We didn't have to throw up a green screen, have our hockey player stand in front of it and say, how's that? Okay, look over here, look over there. He saw the mountains. He saw the sand dunes on the stage. He saw the Joshua trees. He was interacting organically with his environment, as was the light. And we were capturing with a lens. Filmmaking hasn't changed. It just has more options now. You're still pointing a camera, rolling sound. It's just that what's around us is now, we have a better grasp of what's around us, and we have more control of the final image because we're crafting it at the start of the project. So by the time we get to post, we're a lot closer to the finish line. I find that rewarding, exciting, and pretty awesome. With the lessons learned, one thing that you would usually have more time for is if you have numerous environments, you want to put stuff in the foreground. You want to put rocks, trees, sand, or dirt down. That's great if you have a stage for several days or for a week. But because we had 5 environments and we had to cycle through them in one day, I made the choice to not put anything on the ground, knowing that later in post, I can either extend the sets downwards to replicate what's on the walls and have it mapped onto the ground and tracked. I shot a lot of static shots, so it would be a lot easier to paint the desert floor or whatever, or snow or ice onto the ground and make it a more complete set. I had to accept that as something I couldn't capture on the day, but that allowed me to get some amazing super wide vistas and some amazing proper shots that are big, epic, massive looking shots. I also realized I could frame up if I raised the camera, tilt it up a bit. I could crop the actors at their waist or at their mid knees and just show the wall behind them from a distance. And that way you don't see their full body, but you do see them in frame interacting with the background, and fully everything looks real, like you're really on a mountaintop in a snowstorm or really on a sand dune. So there are allowances you have to make. Like I said, 5 environments, one day. I can't put sand down and get it out before lunch, then put ice down and get it out. So those are some of the allowances I had to make, knowing that I could get the close-ups and the beauty shots and the hero shots that are usually closer on a longer lens. That to me makes a huge difference, not only for feature films, but like I did on this, directing an entire ad campaign, having enough pieces and parts in one day to craft something for social, for web, for broadcast, for signage, for whatever. I have all the pieces in one day of filming, which came along with weeks and months of prep and weeks and months of post. That's the reason I think that we do this. I think that's why it's crazy enough to get into this business and try and tell your story, try and tell it in a new way, try and tell it in a bigger, better, bolder, more creative way with these new tools. That feeling of accomplishment is why we do it. It's why I do it, at least. I shouldn't speak for everyone. It's why I do it. And then getting that under your belt just allows for you to dream even bigger on the next one. And like I started this with, it's not only Hollywood productions or huge $1 million shows that can benefit from the advantages of virtual production and going onto a virtual stage. It's for anyone that has a well thought out plan, a well crafted idea that you can do in a reasonable amount of time, and make sure that you hire the right artists to help create your environments That's critical. Hire a camera team that's quick, agile, nimble, that wants to get through the day as well with you and can realize your visions. And make sure you work with people in a studio that are there to help you. They're not there just to burn hours. They want to make sure you get what you need to get. And those relationships, I think, will go a long, long way. That's what I strive for in this industry, to work with people that I respect, that I enjoy being around, that help me achieve my goal, and to have a smile on their face and then want to have a vodka soda at the end of the day with me. So I think that wraps it up with our adventures here. Once again, I want to thank Dell and NVIDIA for helping partner with us with Vashi Visuals to help tell this story and to share it with you. And I look forward to more adventures in the future, both on the virtual stage, on the hockey rink, on the beach, in space, who knows, anywhere. Anything's possible. So thank you everyone for taking the time to hang out with us. I really appreciate it. And ciao for now.